What's up guys, it's Bastian here coming at you with my magical Marionette goat format deck profile. First of all, massive shout out to Sam Cox. He's posted a few videos on YouTube. I think the last one was a couple of years ago, now in 2023, on this theme, and I always like magical Marionette, and so I've kind of taken his points from the videos, kind of looked at some other areas on the world of YouTube that kind of inspired me, and this is my take on this deck. But again, massive shout out to Sam for recording those videos a few years ago. So to start with, we've got 3 copies of Apprentice Magician. Apprentice Magician is one of the cornerstones of this deck. It allows us, upon summoning, to place a spell counter on a face-up card that you can place a spell counter on. When this card is destroyed by battle, you can special summon one level 2 or lower spellcaster type monster from your deck in face down defense position. So it kind of gives us a bit of a toolboxing. It can either replace itself, or with the help of Apprentice Magician we can get a Moth or a Vindictive Magician in play. So yeah, Moth is obviously the main target here, but Old Vindictive can be good for kind of like knock bait, for example. And if you do get that flip, obviously it is a monster removal, and you know the Go format is all about these one for one, sometimes 2 for 1 scenarios that you want to kind of push for. So this is our starting point. And of course, it won't be a real surprise if I tell you, because this deck operates with spell counters, we only have 2 traps in the entire deck. So we're trying to make all the solutions that we need, all the plays with spell counters. Okay, so first thing is where Apprentice Magician can absolutely shine, is when you can replace spell counters onto Breaker, the Magical Warrior. That just feels really good. Whether you need that extra back row removal or you want a 1900 beater, if you can summon an Apprentice Magician, then you will be able to do that. So that's pretty neat. It also supports Magical Marionette, kind of like the main theme of the deck, as I mentioned. And I've seen this ran as 2, but I got a bit of an OCD, and unless if I don't maximize on the main theme of the deck, then I feel like that's not the main theme of the deck. So Magical Marionette can come down with 1 tribute. You're going to need 1 tribute for it, which is the only kind of drawback really of this card. Besides that, I think it's superb. Each time a spell card is activated, place 1 spell counter on this card. This card gains 200 attack for each spell counter on it. You can remove 2 spell counters from this card to destroy 1 monster on the field. And it comes down as 2000 attack, 1000 defense. So it gives us a lot of flexibility, but we need to obviously cater for the card. So we're gonna need to be able to put either loads of spell counters on this guy to be able to beef it up and make it like a 24, 26, 3000 attack value monster to beat down with. That's amazing. Late game, if you have that situation going on, often you're probably going to be looking at removing 2 spell counters to destroy a monster on the field, which is just absolutely fantastic. It is very good. This is why obviously having the Vindictive is maybe not as good, but the only other card you could play is the Magical Mandragore. If you want to run that, run it. I'm not running it. Okay, so this is roughly the spellcaster package in the deck. We also run a warrior toolbox in the deck just to facilitate a lot of additional things, so just to allow us to have a plan B. So we're running a copy of Exiled Force, because, well, if you're running warriors, you want to run Exiled Force, obviously. Tribute this card to destroy 1 monster on the field. We are running a Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke. If this card attacks face-up defense position monster, destroy the monster with this card effect without applying damage calculations. This is fantastic for us, especially with the 2 Book of Moons that we'll get to in a minute. Now, whilst we're talking about light monsters, let's look at DD Warrior Lady. When discard battles with your opponent's monster after damage calculation, you can remove from play the opponent's monster and discard. All these 3 cards will give us monster removal. That kind of alleviates some pressure off Magical Marionette, and he will be able to go in and do some beatdowns. If we don't see these guys, then of course we can use Magical Marionette just to still remove monsters. Either or, we've got loads of monster removal and we're gonna need it. And I'm running 2 Blade Knights because we're running a lot of spell cards. We're normally going to be burning through our hand relatively fast, honestly. And so there is a good possibility that we can just turn 1 Blade Knight and turn 2 2000, maybe go into turn 3 2000 again if we can, or then maybe go BLS. Possibility. Again, I'd like to have Blade Knight as a 3-of, but not the main theme. It's not a warrior specific deck, so we kind of like just have it as is. So we got 4 light monsters there, and we also have, I'm just going through these, yeah, we also had 2 Magician of Faith, so we got 6 light monsters here. We are running 1 Don Zolug. Don Zolug actually works pretty nicely with just that sort of removal, discard a random card from your opponents, or well, that you're not really going to be sending top 2 cards of their deck to the graveyard. Sometimes you might, or maybe that wins you the game, that very rare situation, but it's all about discarding a random card from your opponents, and kind of like just having that option I think is pretty cool. And I was also looking for a 1500 or lower attacker, because we do run Sangan. So Sangan gives us access to Exiled Force, DD Warrior Lady, Don Zolug, any one of the 3 Apprentice Magicians that we would want to see here. So quite good again to have Sangan in this particular deck. And as I said, we got 6 light monsters and we've got loads of dark monsters, so there is a space for BLS. And really, there aren't any decks without BLS. Let's be honest. I mean, to say that you're not going to run BLS is naive, because eventually you will end up running BLS. It's just such a good card, but it's only a one-off, and you know that it can be played around. There are certainly ways to deal with it before it comes down. Once it does come down, it's pretty much game over. But it's still kind of, you need like a clear board for him to come down, and so I think it makes sense to run just like a big main beater in the deck. Okay, so to facilitate the warrior toolbox, we're running 2 Rotas. Naturally, we're running 2 Rotas that will allow us to grab any warriors that we want. Again, just to reiterate there real quick, we do have Exiled Force, Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke, DD Warrior Lady, 2 Blade Knights, and a Don Zolug. Any one of these are fetchable with reinforcement of the army. To ensure that we can get out the magical marionettes, I ended up on 3 Soul Exchange. And the reason why I ended up on 3 Soul Exchanges, I kind of thought about like other possibilities to do this. I think Soul Exchange is very good, because whilst it doesn't allow us to attack, in itself it is a monster removal, because obviously we're using as tribute one of our opponent's monsters, which of course is fantastic in itself. It's a removal in itself. And let's not forget that we only want to use Soul Exchange to bring down Magical Marionette. Now, if we can Soul Exchange into Magical Marionette, and we have 2 more spells to play that turn, which is not impossible, then we're immediately going to be able to remove 1 more monster from our opponent's side of the field. That can be quite good. Now, you got to be careful. Obviously, all good decks will be running BLS, so you kind of don't necessarily want to feed what they're doing. But I was also thinking maybe we should run the Got the spellcaster that banishes from our opponent's graveyard. I can't remember its name. I'm so sorry. Kaiku. There you go. Kaiku. So perhaps there is room for a Kaiku or two in this deck. Maybe just being a little bit too over ambitious with the Blade Knights. Maybe those should be two Kaikus. Anyway, back to spells. So we've had 2 Rhodas. We've had 3 Soul Exchange. Let's see what else we got. Now, usually because we want to win by clearing the board and ensuring that we can get in for good amounts of damage, Upstart Goblin must be at a 2 of. It is not a free spell because it gives our opponent extra health, but I was thinking about running the content of tool, the tool book of tool contents. I don't know what that card is specifically. That you can get another one, and you can get another one, and you get a toon world, and you pay 1,000 for it. And whilst that is good, it takes up a lot of space, and I wanted to gear this up to be kind of like as competitive as possible. I mean, it's definitely not tier 1, but I was kind of trying to make it solid, and I just don't think that Toon World of Content, I think that's called, is just good enough. Anyway, that's just my take on this. Of course, we got the Charity, the Pot of Greed, the Delinquent Duo, as you would expect it. We also have 2 copies of My Body as a Shield, because if you can protect your Magical Marionette and maybe put an additional, and if there's the second spell counter you put in it, then that's pretty amazing. You can remove 2 spell counters from this card to destroy 1 monster on the field. I don't know the timing of that card, but I would assume that that can be done. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments below. I'm just thinking whether it can be done during my opponent's turn. I don't actually think so. Then we got Snatch Steal and Premature. So steal our opponent's stuff, bring our stuff back. Premature is particularly good again with Magical Marionette. We got those 2 Book of Moons, which has to be in this deck. Again, it gives us really good protection, similar to My Body. We got the 2 copies of Knock, just to deal with those difficult situations. And of course, we do have Heavy Storm, the MST, and then the 2 removals. Again, I found space for his Mirror Force and Ring of Destruction. I kind of wish we could have maybe Call of the Haunted in the deck. That would be probably good, but it's a trap card, it's not a spell card. I wanted to have the absolute essential trap cards in here and no more. Another potential could be Mystic Tomato, but we already have enough Dark, and the only thing you can accomplish with Mystic realistically is to bring out more Apprentice Magicians. That would probably be one of the best things to do, and then when she gets destroyed, you can have a lot of sort of loop, not loop specifically, but sort of one fetches the next one kind of situation here. So this is my Magical Marionette deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed this little hello, focus. There you go. Hope you've enjoyed this little deck profile here. If you haven't subbed yet, please do so. Press the like button or the dislike if you don't like it. Leave a comment below. Let's discuss. What do you think about this deck? When can we use Magical Marionette? Maybe somebody will tell me, actually, Buzz, you can use it during your opponent's turn. And that would just be mind-blowing. No, it can't be. Of course it can't be. That would be ridiculous. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Again, once again, Buzz signing out. Peace.